Hiya. Everyone's probably sick to death about hearing about the referendum result, but this video is more for me, really, just to try and get down some thoughts about what I think about the whole thing. Obviously, I'm disappointed about the result. I really was very optimistic that we'd vote to stay in. I just thought we'd vote to stay in. Obviously, that isn't the case. We voted to leave the EU, and first and foremost, I can accept that result. I firmly believe in democracy, and I'll come on to that a bit later. My first emotion that I felt was betrayal. I make no bones about it. This referendum was won by a Leave campaign based on, I don't want to say lies. I don't want to say lies because I don't think they are lies. They are just extreme exacerbations of what could possibly happen in in a dream world, but it doesn't work like that. It just doesn't work like that. I mean, I was watching Good Morning Britain this morning, literally 2 hours after the final result had been revealed, and Nigel Farage was sitting there saying, "No, we won't spend 350 million on the NHS." When a few days earlier or a week earlier, he was photographed next to a bus saying exactly that. That is what I'm angry about, because this referendum was won based on negative campaigns, and that's from both sides. The whole campaign has been an absolute disgrace, and that is probably why some people voted Leave, because they just there were no facts, it was just complete scaremongering from both sides, and people are fed up of it. People are just fed up of politicians being politicians. And, I would be able to accept this result a lot better. I do. I do accept the result. Like I said earlier, I do believe in the democratic process. I do believe in that. But if the Leave campaign has said, if we vote to leave, the economy will shrink immediately because of uncertainty, but we believe that it will pick up afterwards and it will pick up going forward. That's a statement and an opinion that people would have accepted. I think people would have voted Leave if they'd have said that. But the fact is, the Leave side have ingrained this opinion that the UK is just going to go back to the days of the empire. And the world's moved on since the days of the 70s and the EEC. It's moved on. We're global. It's globalised. India, China, Australia in the 70s, they didn't have the booming economies that they have now. The world's moved on, and I do believe that we are gonna struggle. But the bottom line for me is that we were able to vote on this in the first place because we are lucky, so lucky to be living in a country that allows voting, that allows freedom of speech, that allows protest, that allows petitions. You could have been born in the war zone that is Damascus, or the absurdity of Pyongyang in North Korea, or born under the regime of Saddam Hussein. It could be so much worse. It could be. And, obviously people are disappointed about this. People who wanted to stay in the EU, they are disappointed, but it's not the end of the world. It really, really isn't. We've got 2 years before anything changes at all, probably, because of Article 50 of the Lisbon Treaty. We've got time to get used to this. We do. And the whole of society isn't going to collapse because of this result. I think we'll be worse off overall, I do think that, but it's not going to collapse. You have a roof over your head, you have food on the table, you have friends and family. We need a bit of perspective, I think, about life in general, really, before I get too philosophical. I'm just a bit disappointed about how the whole campaign was presented from both sides, really. There was a stage where I was just going to spoil my ballot paper because I was just so angry about just the fear that both sides were trying to inject into the campaign. It was based on complete negativity. I voted to remain in the end because that's what I thought. I thought spoiling the ballot paper would be completely useless. But and I've got a few friends who are, upset on the verge of tears, really, about this. And I don't think it's worth losing sleep over. To be honest, I think there are, you don't know what the future holds, and you never know. It might. Oh, I'm sweating so much. It could work out. I don't think it will, but it could. So, my main message for this video really is just to keep a bit of perspective, keep your feet on the ground. Life goes on at the end of the day, and this vote is done. I honestly don't think a second referendum is democratic at all. You can't have a second referendum based just because he didn't like the result. Scotland having a second referendum because their situation has completely changed now. Scotland voted thinking they were part of the EU the first time round. Now they're not. And I think Nicola Sturgeon and the SNP can have grounds to call a second referendum, and I think they'll leave this time. So, yeah, that's my thoughts about the whole thing. I am disappointed, but life goes on, and as long as you've got people around you who love you, that's the main thing. So don't be too disheartened about the whole thing. I'll try not to speak too much about it because I'm sick to death of the whole thing. I was about 2 months ago. So I'm going to go drink a bit of whiskey like I usually do on a Friday night because nothing's changed. Well, not yet. And, live life and carry on. Because I live life by one phrase: worrying is like a rocking chair. It gives you something to do, but ultimately it gets you nowhere. And worrying about this is just no point because it's happened. It's gone. People have voted with what they think is right, and I believe in that process. And we shall fight on. We shall carry on. And yeah, have a good evening, and thanks for listening.